What is going on, Artful Nation? This is your old pal, Matt Prophet, the Rhino, the Artful Rhino. Today, we are back here at Hot Point Davis Arena, the home of Ohio Valley Wrestling. Tomorrow's superstars today. Yeah, today. And speaking of today, we are getting ready. We're just a couple short hours away from OVW's Rise and Overdrive, getting ready to air on their Thursday night. And today I have a very special guest sitting in with us this evening that I'm proud to feature. A former OVW Country Boy Media champion, multi-time tag team champion, uh, Country Boy Media champion, and
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
What else was there? There was the
Nightmare Cup winner.
Nightmare Cup.
Long story short, the fanny pack kid himself, Mr. Kal Herro. Cal, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. I am glad to be here, and this is the best way to start an overdrive taping and a TV day. You know what I'm saying?
You hit the nail on my head, my friend. Now, I usually have paperwork here with me, but a few people here, some questions I have recycled from past interviews, but a couple fan questions as well. In addition to some I like to ask myself. But as we're sitting here talking, let's start back from how you got your start in the world of professional wrestling. What what made you convince yourself to pursue this as like a dream job, so to speak?
Ooh, so I kind of grew up in the sport. My dad is a wrestling promoter up in Wisconsin, and he's been running shows for over 25 years now. So, and I'm 22, so I've basically my entire life has been revolved around wrestling, and I guess it was kind of just a matter of time until I was like, you know what? I've watched my heroes, I've seen my heroes. I'm gonna go chase this dream, and finally, I was 16, and I was like, I'm gonna join the circus.
Wow, and that's similar to a next question. Some people like for me to ask was, do you have any like background in like performance or whatever?
So I didn't do any amateur wrestling. I didn't do any theater. I was a football and track player. I did track and field, shot put and discus, and then I played high school football.
What position?
I was left tackle and outside linebacker, mainly outside linebacker. But
wow, did you have any experience in college, or was it just high school?
Just high school, because basically it's like the day after I graduated high school. I drove down to Louisville to have my first match.
How did you hear about OVW? Did someone discover you, or how'd you hear about OVW?
So like growing up in wrestling, like you hear of Ohio Valley Wrestling, John Cena, Batista, Randy Orton. So I already had that.
Mark Henry,
yeah,
Shelton Benjamin.
I mean, there is a wall back there that has every name of every legendary person that's come out of here. But
even the Bashams came out of here. Weather Daddy Doug and Danny and a friend of mine who I met through a cousin of mine was who I was fortunate enough to become sort of good friends with. Was Aaron the Idol Stevens.
Oh, he is probably one of the most brilliant minds ever when it comes to this.
I would say so. And before we go any further, I want to give a couple shout outs. I want to give a shout outs to two former managers. I told them I would do this for NoVW. I want to give a shout out to Christian Muscagni of the Muscagni Law Firm, former OVW manager here, agent. And then I want to give a shout out to Chris Bolin. That's right. Hitmaker, Kenny Bolin's Bolin Service's son, Chris Bolin. I told him I send him this video and email. Shout out to Hitmaker as well. Kenny, I know you're gonna be watching this. I'll make sure you get a copy of the video too. But that's all the names involved, with OVW, use inspiration for others. How I've been inspired by others. And between you and I, just me being involved with OVW is pursuing my dream as well, especially through the media.
That's awesome.
And but speaking of getting back to the pro wrestling part, can you tell us, what? Give us a little glimpse into what how the process was to your transition from your very first match up until now was.
Yeah, I'd say, man, like the key to even having a transition is repetition.
Right.
And man, the best choice I ever made was moving down here because there's not many places that you can wrestle weekly, multiple times a week. I mean, we have training multiple times a week. Like this is my home. My normal house is my second home. You know.
Well, to tell you the truth, I wouldn't want it any other way
Yeah.
because OVW is such an iconic. I would say legendary. It's both legendary and iconic because just the history alone, even without any fans just sitting here, I just personally sitting here alone talking to you, I can even hear the echoes, minus the ones in the background of the voices who have wrestled here before.
Mhm.
John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, Randy Orton, uh, Batista, even. And then you had the ones like Trailer Park Trash,
Yeah.
the Outrunners. I understand Truth Magnum is scheduled to make an appearance this evening, as you said.
Youngest man alive.
I believe it. And to tell you the truth, it doesn't matter what promotion you watch. I personally think the Outrunners are to me, they're the most exciting tag team in the business today that made it big. Both of them came through OEW, and to me, they're my favorite tag team, the most exciting tag team anywhere.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, both those guys. I mean, when I came to OVW, both looked out right away.
Right.
Helped out, gave advice. Those two have not only deserved, but they have earned all the success they get going forward. They're two both amazing guys.
Right. I've got a fan question here for you. My friend uh, Hayden. He wanted me to ask you this. I can't remember how the question goes, but I'm going to alter it a little bit. What was the to you? What would have been the most difficult part when you're going through your academy years?
The most difficult part, ooh. I'd say, man, it's tough because the difficult part is, at least for me, what it was the toll that it took on my body initially. I've gotten callous, but I remember hitting the ropes for the first time, and I was in pain. The next morning, I woke up and I had 2 bruises, of just ropes.
Wow.
And at the same time, this is what I love, so
Right.
kind of pushing through it was easier.
I've heard from a few other ring veterans, from their first time, and they say, and believe me, I've gotten a ring before just to walk around, and let me tell you, not to compete, but it was for a friend's birthday party
Yeah.
over at the arena in Jeffersonville. I got the ring just we were just wanted to try it out. And let me tell you one thing: the statement is true. That ring right there, it's right over here. If you guys can't see it, I'm looking directly at it right here at my 12. They ain't no trampolines because like somehow give to it, and I can tell you one thing: just walking in there, I could say I'm not even going to take a jump because liability, or whatever. I think the next question I want to ask you is in regards to your experience when you were just starting out. Did you have any in regards to transitioning? How do you think um, the pandemic, COVID-19, took on some wrestlers as far as not having any fans?
I think as much as it sucked, it gave everybody a reminder that we can't do this without the fans.
Right.
Those bumps hurt 10 times more when there's nobody watching, and
Believe me, I sympathize with you there because as one who lived through the pandemic myself, and especially since I'm a season ticket or UL football, I only did a 3-game package that year at 20% capacity. It's just not the same. And then you probably get crowd noise. The artificial crowd noise to me, it's not the same
No.
as having an ass every 18.5 inches.
Yes.
As opposed to every 6 feet. It's better. The more people you have, the better it is. The better it is, the more exciting it becomes. So that's kind of why I wanted to bring up, like, but what was it? The pandemic. How did that affect you guys financially?
So it's crazy that I actually started at OVW. I believe it was July of 2020. So I
Wow.
came right when
Right during lockdown.
yeah, and man, it was. At the time, I didn't know the financial, but I know that wrestling is based off of ticket sales,
Right.
right? And
Right.
if we're going months and months and months without ticket sales, it's hard to pay the bills.
And then plus you got merch and all that on top of all that. And then you got revenue. But yeah. But then again, with the thing, with the was the lockdown kind of loosened up a little bit. Like as far as medically, what was it like? Because I know a couple of people want to know, like from your perspective, uh, from your perception, um, what it was all about. Because I know some of you guys get in there, you're touching each other with all that stuff. Was there like any certain criteria you got to follow as far as mandates go?
Yeah, so I think at that time everybody was regularly taking COVID tests, and at the same like between each match too, like, and we still have them. There were the spray bottles, and it would be disinfectant. So after every match, the ring would get sprayed down,
Right.
and we were required to wear masks. There were even some shows that I wrestled with a mask on.
Right.
That was not fun because when it gets hot and sweaty, it's hard.
Especially
to breathe.
when you're bouncing out the rope, just even just bounce out the ropes, it's hard to breathe.
Yeah.
And I can tell you right now, those masks, no bueno. Because I between you and I have a sleep apnea really bad. And just with that alone, it helps me breathe at night. But even the other day, especially if it gets hot in here or hot out there, because sometimes I was here, well, last June when the air conditioner was working. I can only imagine what it was like. Well, I say it wasn't working, it got stolen, but now you guys have a good facility. But
yeah.
But
that air conditioner, my goodness, just in time to have a new one. Summer's coming.
Well, that show we were here, sold out show, all kinds of fluids. There was one time it was right over here. It was like ankle deep. I'm not sure. It was a mixture of water, beer, and human DNA of some sort. I literally stepped in it and it almost came all the way up to my ankles, so like an ankle deep puddle. Oh my god! I understand some lady had to be carried out.
Yeah.
Back through that.
Thank goodness for Hot Point. Hot Point has done wonders, and
shout out to Hot Point.
Yeah, rightfully so. They are the Davis Arena. Because if it wasn't for them, I don't think we'd still have this place.
One thing I would like to give a shout out to before we go any further is Pro Rehab, the official rehabilitation medical partner of Ohio Valley Wrestling, and to Hot Point. Hot Point, we thank you for what you do for the appliances, for the new air conditioning, and Pro Rehab, and to all the medical professionals out there. We thank you guys for what you do. So back to your career, what would you say now as far as OVW being where it is? How do you think, since you've been here, OVW has evolved? And I also like to get your opinion. 2-part question: how do you think OVW has evolved up to this point, and how optimistic are you with OVW's future with the most recent sale to the Morley Company?
So I'd say with OVW evolving, man, just look at the building now. I mean, we've got lights flashing everywhere. We've got a new entranceway, and that's just the visual in the arena. I mean, the talent that we have now,
Yeah,
it's a never-ending cycle of just more talent coming, and we have the best coaches. we've got Al Snow and Leather Daddy Doug.
Yeah,
There's
I just
you
saw
can't top it.
Al over here talking to somebody, but as far as talent goes, who would you want to have your dream match against at OVW or if have well two part question as far as a dream match. Who would you like to have your dream match against here at OVW? And if you got called up to WWE, TNA, AEW, or wherever, who would you like to have your match at or match against, dream match here at OVW or Big Time? What kind of stipulation would you like it to be? And which country internationally would you like to wrestle at outside the U.S. and Canada and Mexico?
Ooh. So I'd say
Put you on the spot with that one.
I've got two dream matches here at OVW. One of them being the newest Rockers, Al Snow and myself, doing some tag team action.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd say Dustin Jackson in the singles. Main event.
I would
pay-per-view.
I would love to see that too. OVW, and I know some guys are hearing. I'm going to speak up loudly. OVW, give us Kal Herro and Dustin Jackson in the singles, but I'm going to one up it a little bit. Both of you, regardless of his how on the line, I want to see you both 60-minute Iron Man match.
Yeah.
Pinfall or submission only. No count out, no DQ, pinfall or submission.
That would be good.
Pinfall or submission only. 60-minute Iron Man match, but falls have to take place in the ring. No outside. That's
No
like
outside.
the only thing. So, and as far as big league, who would you say your dream match would be?
And I feel like if I don't say it, I'm Cody Rhodes. He's one of Al Snow's kids. He's the WWE Undisputed Champ.
I remember him, and I remember seeing him wrestle here at OVW. Matter of fact, I got a picture with him at an OVW house show out at the St. Therese Gym in Germantown. I need to find that picture. I know it's on one of those old camera chips, those digital chips you put in the camera. If I find that, you have my word, I can get you a copy of it.
That's fantastic.
At the time, I was like 17. So, but who would you say your biggest influence is in the world of professional wrestling?
I'd say my dad. I'd say he's helped me obviously grow up into a man, but I wouldn't want anybody else guiding me through this crazy maze and cluster of professional wrestling. He does a great job guiding me on how to do this whole thing. And Al Snow.
Well, to tell you the truth, your dad sounds like a great guy. Is he? I'm sure he may still be watching this.
Oh, he'll be watching.
Oh, trust me, I'll make sure he gets the video as well.
Fantastic.
So, where would you, outside the United States?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Where would you want to, like, which country would you like to wrestle in the most, and which promotion would you prefer? Outside the U.S., Canada, and Mexico.
I'd say really anywhere in the UK, Japan. I'd say those two for sure.
I was gonna say Japan, or maybe even the UK.
Yeah.
Depending, there's a couple of wrestling promotions over there. Since we were talking about dream matches, I would, and as far as character development, I would like to bring that up. Is there any certain wrestler you like to give credit to for modeling your in-ring character after? Because I know I've asked that question to Jeb before, and
yeah, I'd say I'm kind of like a mix of quite a few guys. Al Snow being one, Scotty Too Hotty being another.
Would you say, what with your hairstyle and your beard, would you say Seth frickin' Rollins?
It could be.
I was going to say, I can see a little bit in there with the hairstyle. And
how can you not take notes from Seth frickin' Rollins? He is a mad scientist, when it comes to this.
Trust me, I believe it. So, but yeah, I can see a little bit in you, like, of Sky. I can see Sky Too Hotty as far as, the light heavyweights or the cruiserweights, whatever. As far as Good. How are you doing? Oh, yeah. Somebody walked by. What's his name again? I forgot. But yeah. But as far as character development, you were. I can tell you have a little bit of the cruiserweights in you, Seth Rollins traits. And I also noted a friend of mine. I was talking to him about Freya, who I'd also like to feature on the show one of these days. I told as a matter of fact, she's over there in the birch booth. I hope she doesn't hear me. But me and my friend, we were talking about who in OVW reminds us of who, and you fit the traits of who you mentioned. And Freya, she reminds me a little bit of. She kind of reminds me of Beth Phoenix. I can see a little bit of China in her. China.
Yeah.
And then, of course, she's got the athleticism of. She's got the build and the figure, respectively, of China. A little bit of Rhea Ripley in there as far as the looks go. And she's got the in-ring skills of, Beth Phoenix. I truly believe Freya, as far as OVW goes, is the next Beth Phoenix.
She's she's a beast.
Yeah.
I mean, oh.
Because as far as, there being only one of, you guys should tell her I said that. There's only going to be one Queen of the North.
Yes.
And, but as far as people's journeys go, I would like to. Another question I can ask is, as an everyday person, what are your endeavors outside of OVW? Is there any local charities you endorse and support, or any local programs?
So I did breast cancer awareness in October. I did the Kal Herro shirts with the breast cancer awareness logo, and man, it was awesome to see how many people got those, and it was donated, and man, it was very cool to see. My dad's girlfriend, she had breast cancer, so it was kind of like a close one. And
myself, I'm actually a member of a program here in Louisville. Three of them actually. Um, I'm a I'm a resident. I program. I get services through Dreams with Wings, which is a nonprofit organization here in the Louisville area. Shout out to Dreams with Wings that help provide support for special needs adults, such as myself. I have autism. Sometimes, special needs adults, and sometimes physically disabled, mentally, intellectually, and physically. And I also go to a art studio through Zoom group called Studio Works, which also is for special needs individuals. They do other stuff besides art. They do employment specialists, um, Riot Works, Studio Works, which is artists.
That's amazing.
I'm also an artist by trade outside of this. And then I also, myself, I have struggles with mental health, and I attend Bridgehaven downtown. And recommendation, you may want to, if you're ever out and about, you may want to check out some of these awesome programs.
Yeah.
And then I'm also through Jeb. I know Jebediah, he supports Best Buddies in downtown Louisville. But keep it in mind if you want to get a shot. But other than your endeavors, um, what else do you do besides wrestle? Do you student or something?
I work out a lot. I go to the gym as often as I possibly can. I love to travel, and
Who doesn't?
Right? I am a huge video game person, and I'm a huge fan of Invincible. I love The Boys. Yeah.
What's your favorite video game? Well, let me backtrack. What's your favorite video game to play, and what is your favorite video game system?
Okay, so I've been at Xbox, and this will answer my other question, my entire life. But that's because I grew up on Halo. And Halo is my thing. And recently, in the past year, I got into Warhammer, and Warhammer is a whole nother thing. Yeah, it's.
Speaking of Warhammer, I saw her wrestle here at Member Rumble. And
yes.
That's another name I'm kind of looking at as featuring an episode, because you were, as far as the people who referred to me for a future episode, you were the one that was on top of the list, and
thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. The pleasure is mine, but thank you for your willingness to sit in with us. A couple other questions. You mentioned you go to the gym. A couple brief questions. Can you give us a little glimpse into what your workout routine looks like
Yeah.
on non-match days?
So, and it's so backwards, but I usually start with cardio. Um, and a lot of my workouts are actually from another mad scientist, EC3.
Oh my gosh,
So
I remember EC3. Yeah, he I actually got a picture of him here at one time.
he's a beast. And let me tell you, every time I get through a workout, every day I'm like, you know what? That was EC3 right there.
Hmm.
Puts me through the ringer, covered in sweat. It is the hardest workouts I've ever done, and I stick by that. So I start with cardio. I wait for my pump to kick in, do the workout, and then of course you can't finish a workout without taking a gym picture. So on my socials, you'll always see I'm working out with somebody.
I follow you on
Taking
social
gym
media, so I've seen
pictures.
a couple. So, uh, match day. Do you have any special pre-match rituals that you do, like any stretches?
I just started one actually. I'll bring it over here.
Bear with me, guys. So,
Just started 7 Brew. So I'm trying to get away from energy drinks. Started drinking 7 Brew. But
so
other than that, like I do jump rope. I've got bands, and then always a prayer before I go out.
amen, brother. So, man of faith, I like that. Since we're on the subject of your routine, what's your average diet consist of? Like calorie count, food intake?
So right now I'm trying to do between 35 to 30, and I give that because I never hit it on the dot. 3,600 calories. And dude, it is eggs, it is beef, chicken, turkey, sourdough bread. I do a mushroom coffee. I take the creatine. Don't do pre-workout. Uh, dates, bananas, apples,
So
broccoli.
basically the leanest stuff as possible, right?
Yeah, I get hangry sometimes.
Oh, believe me, I get hangry too. But then again, I'm trying to come back myself. As you can see, like I say, you're in better shape than I am, but I'm trying to get back um, into my shape too.
Mm.
Speaking of getting back into stuff or getting into stuff in the future, is there any advice that you would like to give? I usually ask this towards the end of my episodes, but for all the people out there that are wanting to chase their dream to become a wrestler, and for those who are wanting to pursue it that are hooked, is there any advice that you would like to give any of our viewers that that maybe want to get into it?
Yeah, I'd say the best advice I could give, besides just go and do it, is get started and remember why you started.
Right,
That way, you'll always have a direction. You know, like I started because I looked up to my heroes, and I want to pay that back. I want kids that do have bad days to be like, "Hey, we get to see Cal tonight," and then they forget about everything because that's
right.
what I had.
Well, as far as tonight goes, can you give us a little bit of rundown on who's appearing tonight? Like what kind of matches we got on the card tonight? I know you're due to wrestle somebody. I can't remember who.
I will be appearing. And so we've got Super Z. He will be in action. Dustin Jackson will be in action. Um, I'm sure Sophia Rose will be in action. I can just go down the list here. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm sure that that no good giant Mount Kadeem will be walking around somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure he will. So, but in closing, I wanted to before I let you go. I know you got some stuff you got to do. Is there anyone that you would like to give a shout out to?
Besides my dad, my family, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's supported on this journey. Every fan, friend, family, even the people that have let me cut through lanes because I was going to be late to a show. Legit, everybody,
All
because
the
I get to live my dream. There's nothing better than that.
Cal, I greatly appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, before I go off here, Cal, thank you again.
Thank you.
My name is Rhino, the Artful Rhino. I want to thank Ohio Valley Wrestling again for having me back. Uh, Kal Herro were sitting in on us, or sitting in with us. You ain't Rikishi, not sitting on us. But But we are just about maybe a shade over 2 hours away from showtime. For those of you who are interested in maybe attending a future show with OVW, go online or even the Academy for those of you chasing your goals. I'll tell you, there's no better place to do it than right here at Ohio Valley Wrestling. Tomorrow's superstars today. Or come on down to Hot Point Davis Arena, come to a show sometime, or for tickets, information on upcoming events, go online to ovwrestling.com, or come on down if there's tickets available. Walk up and come on down to 4400 Shepherdsville Road, Hot Point Davis Arena in the West Beutel area. Um, what more is there to say? I know we've got a great card ahead of us, but I am the Rhino, the Artful Rhino. Artful Nation, like, comment, subscribe to my channel. See that notification bell up there? Ring that like you just beat cancer, or in this case, ring that bell like you just defeated Mount KD, or just how Sophia Rose did back in March Mayhem. Victory is yours. For Kal Herro, I am the Rhino, the Artful Rhino. OVW Overdrive. Here we go.